What made you pick that industry? Was there anything specific that drew you to pick that in particular?
I guess because there's a mentality, people think that the easiest company or the easiest way to start in the entrepreneur life would be.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the AbadAss Life podcast. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Andrew Abad. I'm your host. This podcast is all about bringing you experts or people who are becoming experts on their field to give you the tips and tricks that you need to start crafting your own badass life. Today is a super special episode because I have with me someone who is not only a great entrepreneur, but is a great family man. He's a great husband, he's a great dad, and he's become a really good friend of mine. Thanks for being here today, Juan Jaramillo.
Andrew, thank you for the invitation. Thank you for AbadAss Life. That's what it's all about, right? So having a badass life.
And that means different things for different people.
Yeah.
And what I try to convey in my channel is that it doesn't have to be what society thinks, right? It doesn't have to be the crazy vacations, the money, the mansions, the cars. It's none of that. Like, to me, what it means is really just finding that one thing that makes you tick, right?
Exactly.
Finding your purpose,
Yep.
devoting 150% to it, and just making sure that you're true to yourself, and that's what you truly want, not what like your family, your dad, your mom, your wife, your anybody else tells you. Because at the end of the day, like I personally believe that if you go after things that you're not truly in love with, you're just committing like a spiritual suicide.
Correct.
Like,
You're miserable,
yeah,
right?
it won't last.
Exactly. It's especially in the entrepreneur life, right? So if you don't get to love what you do, why are you gonna pursue that dream? So you have to love it first, though.
Yeah, it's not sustainable at all. But before we get into a lot of the nitty gritty things that we're here for today, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Juan? How did you come about? How did you end up here in Ocala? A little bit about your business.
Okay. Well, my name is Juan Jaramillo. I'm originally from Medellin, Colombia. We came from the States back in '93. We lived in Miami all the way until 2006. We got married. I got 3 kids, beautiful kids. And then we decided to, hey, it's time for us to do something different. Let's search in a different city, and we ended up in Ocala, right? So that was back in 2006. Then back in 2011, my wife and I always dream about, hey, I wanna be better, right? I wanna leave a legacy for my family, right? So I used to work for this company. I worked for the company USIC, which they do underground locating cables. So I worked for that company for 22 years, but I was happy working for that company. But something inside of me, I said, hey, I need to do something. I want to leave a legacy. I want to do something else. So back in 2011, we say, hey, why don't we start a cleaning company? And we started a cleaning company back in 2011.
What made you pick that industry? Was there anything specific that drew you to pick that in particular?
I guess because there's a mentality that people think that the easiest company or the easiest way to start in the entrepreneur life will be start a cleaning company. I mean, you don't have to. Doesn't require that many things to involve to get started.
Like
company,
a lot of
right?
upfront capital,
exactly.
And there's no product, there's a service,
training and all of that. So
Correct.
I mean, pretty sure everybody knows how to clean. They can clean their homes. So I say, hey, if we'll be able to clean our home, well, we should be able to clean our different things.
Yeah.
Though. So it's funny that we started back in 2011, but in 2009 and 10th. We created a different cleaning company.
Okay.
It was called Speak It's Pan, and ask me how many customers we got when we started that company. 0. So we started with that Speak It's Pan company, and we handed up a couple of flyers here and there. And after a couple of months, not a single customer. I told my wife, I said, Jesus, this is hard to start a cleaning company. So we didn't have any customers back then. And then that kept in my, behind my, in my back. I'd say, hey, in my mind, say, hey, I I want to pursue this. I really want to start something different. I want to create a company that is not the typical cleaning company out there where you see your typical buckets and mops. I want to do something different. And then in 2011, we created Bright Corners.
And Bright Corners, from what I've seen, I'm relatively new in Ocala. I keep saying this because I've been here for years now, but majority of that was throughout COVID. So I worked mainly from home. A lot of my ventures were like, online businesses. So I didn't really need to leave the house. So it wasn't just until like last year that I started, going out and networking a little bit. I met you guys, you and Julian with the HBC and the Alianza Hispana. Shout out to Julian. He did a podcast.
Yes, I saw you guys.
We had a lot of fun. But yeah, so like your company is one of the leading companies here locally. And you guys have been now in business for more than about 15 years.
It's gonna be close to this is our 14th year in being in business, and yeah.
So the goal for this is to be able to share a lot of those struggles, a lot of the failures, the successes, because just like you, when you first started that first company and opened the doors and were so energetic and optimistic, and then boom, a month goes by and there's no customers.
There's no customers. Yeah.
There's a lot of other companies out there that are going through the same exact thing right now, right? And so like people nowadays are so fortunate that there are people just like you that are willing to come in, sit in here and just give out a lot of that information for absolutely free, right? The one thing that I remember you saying in one of the last conferences and workshops that you had was that there's literally no excuse. Like there's no excuse to make it work. Like if it's not working, there is all the information for you to figure it out and make it work. Just tell us a little bit more how that went about. Like you started Bright Corners, and then how long did it take you? What changed? Okay. What made that change to actually start getting customers from the other one?
So you mentioned something, Andrew, that was from the beginning. You gotta love what you do, right? You gotta feel it inside of in you, and you really gotta love and pursue that dream, right? So. We started back in 2011. My wife, she was pregnant with a third child. And I remember her knocking on doors, one office at a time, until it took us about 6 months for us to get our first customer. Wow. So a lot of people think that, hey, if I don't get that customer the first month, I'm just gonna quit, right? So I'm just gonna drop my ball and let's figure something out, right? There was times, I'm not gonna lie to you, there was times that, I had a conversation with my wife and say, hey, listen, I don't think this is gonna, we trying, we're doing it, but 6 months for us to get our first customer, it was intense.
It's brutal.
Yeah. So we got our first customer. It's funny that as of today, we still got the same customer, not just him, but we got the whole entire portfolio of the medical buildings that we provide janitorial services. So after 14 years, we still got that same customer. So yeah, we got our first customer, and that was like a prayer answer. We asked God for, hey, listen, talk to us.
How are you?
This is really gonna happen or not?
How are you guys making it work? Because I'm assuming you still had your other job, and because that's one thing that I hear a lot, right? And so I'm in a lot of groups just like you. There's a lot of inspiring entrepreneurs. And unfortunately in this day and age, people probably are not waiting 6 months, right? We're so used to the immediate gratification that if it doesn't happen right away, we just quit.
Correct.
Right? And that's just the incorrect culture. It's not gonna get you anywhere when it comes to entrepreneurship and almost anything in life for that matter. So what I tell people is you have to spend the extra time that you have to start building that. Once it gives you that sustainability and the ability to live, right? Because all of us have a threshold that we need to meet in order to survive. And that's just reality, right? And once you get that, then you can start, just devoting 100% to the business. But you got to build it slowly.
You're absolutely right. It's funny that it's hard to say, but people think that creating a business is like putting a food on the microwave and just take a couple of seconds and your food is ready, right? It takes a lot of sacrifice. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of not doing things that you love, like your family. You don't get to spend too much time with your family when you really want to put your business up there. So you have to sacrifice yourself to really make that dream come true. I had my job 9 to 5, regular job 9 to 5. Like I said, I worked for this company for almost 22 years. And then from there, I was, hey, let's go clean. It was me cleaning the office. It was me doing, that hard job, getting dirty out there and making it happen, right? So, but again, it's because I dream it, I loved it, and I say, hey, we're gonna make it happen.
How long did it take for you to be able to quit your job and dedicate full time into the business?
It took me about 6-7 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And the reason why is it's hard for for us, for people, especially for the Latino community, right, to leave that comfort zone, step out of that comfort zone and say, hey, screw this, you live once, I'm gonna shoot for a badass life, I'm gonna go make it happen, because you only live once. So stepping out of that comfort zone takes a lot of courage, right? It takes a lot of power. It takes somebody like your wife, your family member, you tell, hey, your friends, your good friends, your close friends, to tell you, dude, bro, do it. You have to do it. If not, then you ended up 90 years old and laying out in bed thinking about what if.
Yeah, all the regrets.
Yeah, all the
right?
regrets got started. So that what happens. I mean, it took me a few years to realize, hey, I gotta step up. I gotta do this. I gotta step out of my comfort zone and make it happen.
See that I relate with that a bunch because like I think it affects people in different ways. So like for example, you were married at the time when you were trying to start your business. You guys had kids. You were fortunate enough that you had a wife that was supportive and saw the vision, helped you with it. It's part of the business now. Like you guys do things together. Shout out to Regina here. She's amazing. But for me, for example, all throughout my 20s, right? I didn't get married until I was in my 30s. And all throughout my 20s, it was just me, right? I mean, like, I had girlfriends and stuff like that, but there was nothing, like, super serious. So I feel like it was easier for me because I had nothing, like, saying, for example, like, when you have children, you have a family, you have to think twice about making that leap, right? It's like, if you go out in the day and don't make any money and you cannot provide for your family, it's like a terrorizing thought.
It's a whole different ballgame.
It's a completely different ballgame.
Yeah.
So for me, I tried things, I fell on my face, some of them worked, some of them didn't. But also, I realize now, like as I matured a little bit, as I, see things how they went, I didn't really have not much to fight for. Because the way I looked at things is like, for me, thankfully, like I happened to move here to the States right when I was very young. I graduated high school a little bit early, moved to New York when I was 17, started going to college there, realized that probably wasn't gonna be my thing. I ended up going into sales. After a year into sales, I actually worked in power washing. Wow. I did power washing for about a year. Okay. We used to wash like Coca-Cola trucks, FedEx trucks, Cablevision, all of those in New York. And that was over there, that was hard work too, because in New York in the winter time, like the thing will freeze. It was crazy. Like I had my hands like all busted up. But then after that, I realized like, okay, I want to do something else. And I went into sales, got pretty good at sales and realized their business model. So after like 10 months doing that, I went ahead and started my own business. And basically where I was going with that is that gotten skill that for me was very easy to generate income, right? Okay. Like I ended up making money, but I never kept it because I didn't need to. I didn't have a family to feed. I didn't have responsibilities. Yep. It became like very easy to me where like I developed the bad habit of like, oh, if I spend it, I'll just go make more, right? So because of the fact that I didn't have a strong enough why, I feel like majority of my 20s were like, I don't want to say wasted because you can get the lesson out of it. Exactly. And it shaped who I am today. Yeah. But like from where I met Jen, where I was towards the end of my 20s to my early 30s, it's been like a complete like 180 degree change. Yeah. Because now, it's like there is a stronger why. There is like the girls, there is, my son, there is Jan, there's a family. I cannot just go ahead and like fall on my face again and keep going. So those are like the two things that I think can be for entrepreneurs. If you don't have a family, you have the ability to just go ahead and fall on your face, right? You have the ability to go and fail more.
Exactly.
But if you're lucky enough to just happen to actually make it, it's harder to retain it, because normally, as a rule of thumb, if you don't have a strong enough why, you're just gonna go out and get distracted,
yep.
right? So what do you think that for you guys now, after going through a lot of the struggles, after being able to grow the company to the level that you guys are comfortable with, I want to transition a little bit into what made you like just really spend so much time, instead of just kicking back and relax, spending so much time to just give back to the community, to become one of the founders and the main key people at Alianza Hispana, that you're basically devoting a lot of your time to help local entrepreneurs, help people in the area fulfill their vision, right? What was that drive that
I guess it's when you start a business, you feel alone, right? It's a very lonely place. And if you don't have that group of people around you that, hey, I want to talk to you, can I ask you a question? I'm going through this. It's going to be hard for you, right? It's going to be very hard to make it. So I would love to have, the opportunity to have a group like La Alianza Hispana 14 years back then, right?
Right.
Then to have a people that I can just go to and talk to, right? And say, hey, I'm going through this, I'm going through that. What would you do? What would you do? Who you recommend to can help me to do this, right? My wife and I, we we had we had gone through a lot of things as we were building our company, right? So having that group, it's for me, it's number one. And being able to give back to the community, right? Being able to share a story and being able to tell, hey, I don't know the whole thing, but I know a couple of things. Let me show you how to do it properly, so you don't make the same mistakes that we have done, right? So
if you're an expert on any field or a successful entrepreneur who wants to be featured in our podcast,
I loved it.
make sure you click the link below, fill out the application, tell us a little bit about yourself. If we're a good fit, somebody from our team will reach out to you.
What's up? What's up? Hey, what's up? What's up?
And you need to get ready to start inspiring our audience and become a part of the AbadAss Life podcast. I'll see you soon. Yeah, no, that's really powerful, and I think we need more leaders in the community like that. We need more business owners, not necessarily just community leaders, but just more business owners that remember that we all, at least most of us, didn't have it right away, right? And so when we are lucky enough to get to a certain level of comfort, just be able to look back and say okay, there are a lot of other people out there that haven't reached that level yet. And I don't think there's one more fulfilling thing than to be able to help others achieve those levels, right?
And exactly, and especially in our Latino community, right? Us being Latinos, we think we know it all. We don't ask for directions, we don't ask questions. If I start my business, I'm gonna figure it out on my own. I'm gonna figure it out because I'm a badass and I think I'm gonna be able to make it. So changing that mentality on our community, in our Latino community, is crucial in being an entrepreneur, right? And making it happen, right? And being able to have the company that they're dreaming about, right? So just changing the way they think a little bit, the way we think a little bit is, hey, let me show you how to do it. Ask questions. There's nothing wrong for you to raise your hand and ask a question and say, hey, I'm going through some problems. I'm going through some issues. I need to learn how to do this. It's for us to be able to change that mentality in the Latino community. It's there's no money that can pay that. So.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. And I believe that that's not something that unfortunately you're able to just change right away, right? Because for example, I think that there are certain things that you and I, we're neighbors. I'm from Ecuador. I was born and raised in Ecuador. So we are coming from a complete different culture. And what we are taught is not necessarily the best financial strategies. Our parents did the best that they could. They try to teach us what worked for them.
Exactly.
And sometimes that doesn't work in this day and age, right? We're very attached to, our money. We see spending money as taboos, like you don't want to spend, you want to try to keep most of your money, and nowadays, like in this economy especially, like if you keep money in the bank, year after year, you're losing buying power. Your money, the US dollar is depreciating by the day. So you have to be smart with your money, especially if you're an entrepreneur. You have to learn how to invest. You have to learn how to get that advice from the right people that are, business owners in the community. Because like, look, I love my mom and dad, but if I want to get to somewhere, I'm going to go and ask advice to people that have gotten there.
Correct.
And if my mom and dad were not able to do that because of the circumstances, because of, whatever it was, like I love them dearly, I'd do anything, I'll take a bullet for them. But you have to not take their advice. You have to go against the advice of the people that have not been able to get to where is it that you want to go.
And you're absolutely right, Andres, is we see that a lot in our Latino community, right? I'm not gonna ask a friend that is making, for instance, 1 or 10, 2, whatever money. They're making it, right? They're going at it. I'm just gonna ask my mom and dad because I feel comfortable asking my mom and dad. I feel comfortable.
Your family members.
My family members. Hey, how do you do it? But the truth is, most of our family members, especially in the Latino community, they reached a point that, hey, it was good for them, right? So you want to get involved. You want to have a different circle in your business life to really make it happen.
It's just a matter of like being able to get a bigger perspective because like it's not to like fault them, right? Like we as humans, we have different mechanisms that if you repeat them enough, like that just becomes how you're hardwired. Like your brain works in like crazy ways. I'm right now starting to learn a little bit more how like, your neurons form like these neural patterns and all this crazy stuff. And it was like, oh my God, how can I change this now? But it's like super interesting. And what I'm saying is like they were just used to what worked. And they did that for so long and so like I mean it's not their fault. It's just what they got used to.
Correct.
Right? So like now it's just being able to, like for example, at least for me, to travel and see different cultures, see how they think, see how they solve problems, to see how they react to adversity. It just gives you like a much broad view of how you should react or how it will be more effective to react towards all those struggles.
Correct.
Right? And so, like, let's talk a little bit more about, like, your new project, Emprendiendo la Limpieza, right?
Emprendiendo la Limpieza is for, again, my Latino community. Es un grupo solamente hispano.
Okay.
So, nosotros lo que estamos haciendo en ese grupo es poder cultivar y dar por gracia lo que Papá Dios nos ha dado, ¿sí? De todos los tropiezos que hemos pasado en nuestras vidas en el mundo del negocio, de todas las enseñanzas que hemos adquirido y poder llegar a ese grupo de Emprendiendo la Limpieza, que es para que la gente sepa cómo crear una compañía de limpieza y no solamente crearla, sino llevarla a otro nivel. Porque nosotros como latinos, no todos, pero la mayoría de la comunidad latina se siente conforme con estar a un nivel de negocio. ¿Por qué no llevar el negocio a una escala que sea completamente diferente?
Sí, sin miedo al éxito. Eso es verdad. O sea, hay muchísimas cosas que yo creo que tenemos que cambiar en nosotros mismos como cultura para poder sacar a los negocios a diferentes niveles, ¿verdad? Porque, ¿qué es la palabra para scarcity? Tienes que cambiar tu mente. La verdad es que un negocio, por más que esté bien estructurado, por más que tenga todos los elementos que otros negocios tienen, solo va a llegar al nivel que el fundador, que el CEO de la compañía lo pueda llevar. Y eso se define por la mentalidad de esa persona, por los beliefs que esa persona tiene. Y pues esa es una de las cosas más importantes que se tiene que cambiar para que la compañía pueda llegar a ciertos niveles.
And you know what it is that sometimes we set up our goals way too low, and we gotta change that mentality, right? We as a Latino, we gotta pursue it. I mean, if it doesn't give you that butterflies in your stomach, and trust me, I gotta be petty. If it don't gives you that butterfly in your stomach, your dream is not big enough. You have to pursue something that makes you feel that, hey, and there's gonna be always people telling you, hey, you're crazy, you're not gonna make it. What is it that you're drinking? Whatever. But if you really love what you do and you feel it really inside of you, say, hey, there's something funny about me that I feel something not right, but I think that goal is making me, go forward, right? So.
Right. You just reminded me. It was like you took me 10 years, probably like 15 years back now. When I first moved here and I started working with my uncle in the power washing, I was making $9.50 an hour, right? And after working there for like 6 months, I thought to myself, it's like, okay, if I can get a business and only make $100,000 a year, that will be my goal. I'll be set for life. And you got to be careful what you wish for, because sometimes those beliefs will limit you. And it's okay, like if you get that belief, you hit it, and they're like, okay, I can do better. But like thinking back is like, that's such a small goal, or at least it's not that it's a small goal, but in the broader like picture, like if I had that, and for example, let's say that I got complacent, I got content, and I just hit the 100 and stay there, didn't do any more work, like I wouldn't be where I am today. And so like we have to be, like you said, mindful of our goals. They have to be big enough to where like it scare you shitless. Because if it doesn't, then there's not going to be enough motivation for you to go out and put in the extra work, right? So what was your goal when you started Bright Corners? Like what is your goal still today?
Our goal, well, we got bigger goals, like crazy goals, and that is to have our company national, right? Not being able to be in every state on the whole entire state.
Do you want to franchise it, or you want to own it? Like,
we seen different options. I think we're going more into the franchise model. And then shorter goals, we want to be in the whole entire state of Florida. So we're currently working on being able to provide janitorial services in the major cities like Miami, Tampa, Jacksonville. So if you have a business down there, you might want to connect with Bright Corners. And that's our shorter goals, right? So going back to that, goals, right? The other day I was searching online just as a curiosity. I say, hey, I'm going to search. And again, there's nothing wrong with this. Every person has different goals, right? But we are the type of person that, hey, if we want to create something, I know it's going to be a lot of work, but if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right, and we're going to shoot it for the stars. So I was searching in Facebook, hey, I want to search how many Maria cleaning services are. And I search Maria cleaning service. You have no clue how many Maria cleaning service they popped up, in different states. I mean, the whole list, I was like, so again, going back to, your goals. What is it exactly that you want? If you're creating a company, why settle for less? Why settle for very small, my small company, my small little thing, right? Why don't shoot for something big and make it happen?
Yeah, that's where we go back to like having your badass life, right? Yeah. Meaning like just give 150% of yourself to whatever it is that you want. Because like it's perfectly okay to have a business and get to like a comfortable level and say like, okay, this is it. I'm happy with this. I don't want any more. I want to go out and be able to have time to go coach my kids' soccer game. Gary Vee talks about this, and like I have similar experiences. He says he has friends that are like billionaires and they're just miserable and they're always worried and they're always running around like, and just not happy. And he has friends that make 40, 50K a year that are just like so happy. They have time to play video games, they have time to spend their families, they have time to coach Little League, like all this stuff. So you just have to know that whatever you pick in life is going to have a trade-off.
Correct.
Right?
You have to create a balance, right?
Yeah. And again, like balance is one of those words which is like, it's just so hard to actually achieve it, because that's the thing. Like if you're a very ambitious person and you want like to reach the moon and the stars when it comes to business, but you also want to have work-life balance, it's going to be really hard.
It is.
Because there's people out there that want the same thing that you do, that they don't care. They might not be married, they might not have a family, and they do work like 20 hours a day. And it's hard to catch them, So you see that you have to figure out a strategy in which like it's going to be easier for you to kind of like, you know, inch by inch get closer to them and eventually pass them, or just, you know, make peace with the fact that you don't want it bad enough and your priority is really your family, which is perfectly okay.
Yeah.
For me, that, you know, I'm really ambitious. I want a lot of things in business also, but I'm not willing to sacrifice the time with my life, with my wife, with my kids to like 100%. You know, there might be seasons where Jen knows like, okay, like he's gonna be late at the office, but that's not gonna be the lifestyle that I want like long term.
It's that mentality, right? You know you have to have a balance, but at the same time, you know you gotta hustle, right? You gotta work for it because things aren't gonna come for free, right?
Yeah.
So trying to create that balance.
Yeah, no, and whatever works for you, right? What are like 3 key advice that you would give to someone starting in the janitorial service, in the cleaning industry, that cannot find customers? Or what are like the 3 things that you think were the catalyst for you?
Okay, number 1, you have to always say you gotta be different. If you're not different, you're gonna end up in the same circle where you see a bunch of Maria cleaning services, Pablo's cleaning services is the same thing that you see constantly in social media. So you gotta think outside the box. Create a company that is different from any janitorial company out there. Create a name, a brand. Nowadays, it's all about social media, right? So it's what you see. So you gotta create something different that catches people's eyes, right? So huge of creating a brand that is different from any janitorial company out there. So number 1, create your company, a name that is different. Number 2, ask questions. Raise your hand. There's nothing wrong for you to ask questions. You gotta ask questions as you go. Especially us being Latino. You gotta ask questions. Ask for directions. If your wife is telling you go ask for directions, better make sure you gotta, you know, go outside the car and ask for directions. So ask questions. There's a lot of people out there, especially nowadays. It's not like 20 years back we didn't have, you know, all what we see now on social media or Google. You ask a question and you get it right there and there, right? So prepare yourself, ask questions, get to know the business, right? A lot of people think that, hey, if I can clean my home, I can start my cleaning company. It's not that easy. As you grow, things get a little bit more complicated, right? So, and the last one is, most important is love what you do. You gotta really love that business, this business, right? So, because there's gonna be times that you feel you want to drop the towel. Been there, done that. There's been times where I said, whew, what a month. And that, you know, going back to, you know, feeling that love in your business, and the support that you really need, that support, whether it's a family member, your wife, your mom and dad, whoever is close to you, is that you need that energy for you to, you know, take that business to the next level.
That's great advice. You know, getting the differentiator is great advice. Being able to not be afraid to ask questions is great advice. And loving what you do is another one that is great advice. You know, like I tell people all the time, it's like, you can find the beauty in anything. Like, it doesn't matter if it's an accounting business that everybody thinks like, oh, it's boring, I just have to deal with numbers. You're helping business owners like not do that one thing that they can completely butcher, and then their business suffers because they don't do it. You're helping people's lives get better by doing their numbers, by doing their books. You guys are making clean spaces. You're making like everything look brighter. Like, you can find the beauty on anything, you know, every industry, for as, you know, not sexy or as like boring as it might look like. Like, you know, a lot of those industries are the ones that actually help this country be where it is, you know, help all the other industries flourish. Like, truckers help us, you know, be able to get our food and farmers, like everybody wants to, you know, be on YouTube. Everybody wants to do these, do that, things digital. Like, everybody wants to be an influencer. You know, a few years from now, people that are doing those trades that are like not sexy and are boring are going to be the ones like printing money, because nobody wants to be a plumber anymore. Nobody wants to have a cleaning company. Well, there's a lot of people, but I'm saying like in the broader scale. And you know what happens is like a lot of people go into YouTube because they think like, oh, somebody I know made so much money. And then they give it 2-3 months, they realize that it's not as easy as they think, and then they go back to actually start so like the process gets delayed. Alex Formosi talks about this and how like uneducated optimism once you don't know about the thing, right? Let's say like, oh, somebody's like doing this and it's going so well. Then you start learning about the thing and you're like, oh, it's not that easy. And then he talks about how like people get really pessimist, right? As opposed to like go over the hump, they just get really pessimistic about it and they're like, oh, this is too hard. I'm just gonna go do something else. And they repeat the process for like in 10 different things until they finally get the grit. They realize, like, okay, like everything is hard, just gotta get past the hump. Right? So loving what you do is what's gonna get you past that hump.
Past the hump, yeah. Exactly. So those are my, just make it simple. Make it simple.
If you have anything for the people here in Ocala, because I know like the Latin community is growing. There's a lot more Hispanics coming into Ocala, and we have a lot of resources here for them. We have Alianza Hispana, HBC. Just tell us a little bit more about that.
So yeah, the Hispanic Business Council and Alianza Hispana, it's we help the Latino community to be able to, get that dream, get that goal, knowing how to set up a company properly, and not only that, just have a group of entrepreneurs being able to have that support around you. So we meet once a month at the community center. We are close to downtown area.
Mary Sue, right?
Mary Sue Community Ridge. So it's all Latino, 100% Latino. Se habla nuestro idioma. It's good to be, I would say, home, right? So it feels comfortable to talk to your own people, right? And being able not to support them and ask questions and a little bit of guidance and the Latino love, right? So, that's what we do once a month. We also have a good year. 2025 is coming with close to 20 workshops. Again, it has to do with any topic in the entrepreneur life.
From A through C, right?
Marketing, how to set up a business, accounting, I mean, you name it, we're gonna have it. And towards the end of the year, we partnership with Central Florida College, and we're gonna have a whole day event for the community, Latino community. So.
Before we go, like, do you want to let them know if there's a company out there that requires your services, if there are people that are starting, janitorial services, where can they find you?
Well, social media. So, Emprendiendo en la Limpieza, that's the group that we have on Facebook. Constantly, we're gonna, promoting the group as, putting the valuable tips as what people need to be able to get the company going. We also have, my name, Juan Jaramillo, and again, Bright Corners, and Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all
they're
platforms.
all Bright Corners?
We all Bright Corners. And now we have a YouTube channel, which is starting this week.
Awesome.
Again, Emprendiendo la Limpieza. So you're gonna see us, my wife and I, you're gonna see us a lot more in social medias.
That's awesome. I'm super happy that you guys are starting YouTube. I mean, there's gonna be so educational for your industry. It's gonna be so helpful. You guys are gonna change many, many lives. And I've seen you guys already like changing many lives here in the local community. So I'm just super excited that you guys are expanding that and being able to help more and more people.
And I just want to add something. Thank you so much for the invitation. And I want to say to the entrepreneur people, especially my Latino community, it's short steps, longer vision. Pasos corticos, pero con una visión bien, bien grande. Porque sí podemos hacerlo y sí lo podemos llegar.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing your knowledge about your industry. I really appreciate you taking the time, because this is the only way we know how to help people to craft their own badass life.
Andrew, thank you so much, and let's have a badass life. Thank you.
Yes, sir.